Every year, Behaviour has an anniversary livestream where they go over all they've added to Dead by Daylight in the previous year, as well as their plans for the upcoming year. This year, the anniversary livestream is rumoured to take place on the 23rd of March. Before the stream, I'd like to share some additions to Dead by Daylight that I would like to see implemented in Year 8. This is my Dead by Daylight Year 8 wishlist. The first thing I hope we get more of next year is licensed chapters. While this seems like a very obvious thing, there are a few specific reasons why I want this. Recently, the original chapters have been a bit lackluster. I've only gone against the Skull Merchant at night 2 or 3 times each, and I don't even remember the last time I went against the Dredge. Because of this, to me the game has felt a bit stale because I'm rarely facing any new killers. While a licensed chapter doesn't necessarily mean the killer's power will be strong, the license itself is enough to get some players to continue to play the killer after their release. For example, killers like Myers, Ghostface and Sadako don't have the strongest of powers, but I still see people play these characters because they enjoy the movies they come from. I also just enjoy the hype around licensed chapters when they get added. If I like the property they're adding, it's cool to see how they work in the game, and if I've never heard of them, I can check out the media they're from. The original Resident Evil chapter is what got me into the Resident Evil games, and that's one of my favourite game series. There's still so many licenses for them to add, and I can't wait to see which one gets added next. The next thing I would like to see is better graphic settings. I think the graphic settings are one of the most outdated things in Dead by Daylight. Currently, everything is bundled together in 4 predefined presets. If you want to lower, for example, the texture quality, but keep the shadow quality the same, you're unable to. If you want to disable film grain, you have to change the graphic settings to either low or medium. Ideally, the graphic settings would be changed so that you could tweak each individual setting to your liking. So you could disable film grain while keeping all other graphic options on high or ultra. I'd also really like it if they added the option to uncap the game's FPS from 60 frames per second. While I know you can't uncap it by messing around with the config files, I think it's a bit tedious, and I think it should be an option in the settings. Updating the graphic settings would hopefully also make the game be able to run better on weaker systems while still looking the best it can. This next feature might be a bit controversial, but I'd like to see an update in the Endgame Mori system that we previously saw this year. Before you shoot me for suggesting this, allow me to explain exactly why I want to see this. I believe the Endgame Mori system brought some good improvements to the game. For instance, the base kit Unbreakable stopped killers from excessively slugging and bleeding the survivor out. As a survivor, getting slugged for a prolonged amount of time or until you're bled out might be one of the worst experiences in the game. At least when you get camped or tunneled, the game is over quickly. I also enjoyed how it gave killers a new win condition. I think it's cool that if the killer can manage to down every survivor within 45 seconds after downing the first survivor, they win the game. It gives the killer a risky choice. After downing a survivor, they can secure the huck, or they can leave them and try to down the remaining survivors. If they succeed, they'll win the game early, but if they take too long, the survivors will pick themselves up and the killer can be left without a single huck. It should definitely be noted though, that the endgame Mori system did have some big problems. The base kit Unbreakable could put killers in a lose-lose situation. Sometimes it's necessary for the killer to slug a survivor. For example, if people are sabotaging hooks, the killer has to drop the survivor. This means the survivor could help themselves up while a killer couldn't do anything about it. The perk power struggle also posed a similar problem, where if a survivor was downed under a pallet and the survivor was near, the killer was forced to just let them go. The endgame Mori system also encouraged tunneling. If you tunnel a survivor out quickly, it would make it much easier to down each survivor left and end the game earlier. With the current state of the game, I think the last thing we need is an incentive to tunnel. With all that being said, if Behaviour could tweak the endgame Mori system to address these faults, then I think it would be a cool and good feature for the game, for the previously mentioned reasons. I think the endgame Mori system would breathe a bit of new life into the game. The last big gameplay feature that was added to the game was the endgame Collabs, and that was added 4 years ago. I think Dead by Daylight is due a new big gameplay feature, and I hope we see one this year, whether that be the endgame Mori system or something else. The next thing I would like to see this upcoming year is more licensed cosmetic collabs. Last year we got our first cosmetic collaboration with Attack on Titan. To this day I still think those skins are some of the best in the game. Cosmetic collabs are a cool way to get licenses in the game that wouldn't make sense as a standalone chapter. For example, they could add Ghostbuster suits for some of the original survivors. With cosmetic collabs, the licenses also don't have to be strictly horror. Your favourite show or movie could get a collab despite not being a horror. Leave a comment down below on what cosmetic collab you'd like to see in the game. I'd love to see what different crossovers you'd like. Another addition that I believe is long overdue is a perk search bar. With the most recent update, if you have every perk on a survivor, there's over 9 pages of perks. This can make it very tedious to find the perks you want. It would be nice not having to say the ABCs every single time you want to find a perk. A perk search bar would fix this, and I hope we see it implemented during this upcoming year. Finally, I'd like to see the Realm Beyond being fully finished. The Realm Beyond is a project where behaviour revisits old maps and characters and updates them visually. It was first talked about during the 50-year anniversary livestream. I believe all the characters and maps they've improved look a lot better, but there's still a few that I feel could get a touch up. For example, characters like Michael Myers and Hillbilly look slightly dated compared to the rest of the cast. I would love to see them get improved graphically. That concludes my wishlist for Year 8. If there's anything you want that I haven't mentioned, please leave a comment. I'd love to see what additions you would like this year in Dead by Daylight. I'd like to thank you for making it this far, and I hope you enjoyed your time. If you like this video, you may enjoy some of my other videos. Currently, only 18.5% of people who watch my videos are subscribed. If you're not subscribed and you'd like to see more videos like this, I'd ask that you do subscribe. If you'd like to see behind the scenes of my videos or get updates about upcoming videos, you can follow me on Twitter. That's all for now. Thank you, and goodbye.